It took quite a while to say the least, but Mob Psycho has officially done it. This anime, after its third season, managed to solidify its position as one of the greatest anime ever. This anime finally has done it, and it wasn't due to anything you might even think of. It wasn't thanks to an epic battle or an amazing plot or even the animation, even though those three exist in this anime and are great in its own right. But no, it was all due to the amazing arc of character development that Mob went through all the way from Season 1 to Season 3.
Let's go.
Mob has been collecting all the events that happened with him throughout the show, analyzing them and learning from them, until all those experiences, friendships, and even enemies came back in Season 3 in the final 2 episodes of the series. For those who have seen it, you already know what I'm talking about here, and for those who haven't, however, I will be explaining everything all the way from Season 1 up to the much fitting finale of Season 3. Mob has always been known as the poker face of anime, the guy that never smiles or shows emotions. He isn't just that, however. He is also a powerful sidekick with abilities next to none as demonstrated in Season 3. His abilities are beyond anyone's imaginations, and he has been holding back his abilities in the series since the first moment. Even when he had his iconic 100% power explosions, he was somewhat still holding back and controlling his powers, keeping them on a leash. Ever since Season 1, and Mob was outspoken, indecisive, a quitter, and had no real purpose in his life for that matter. He just lived because he was existing, and he followed whatever Reagan told him like a loyal lapdog, not questioning him even once. Reagan, of course, used that to his advantage and started to do psychic purification jobs off the back of Mob and his naivety. Things didn't stay the same, however. Mob, with every job they made, took the excuse of Reagan for not using his powers to face value. However, things didn't seem to add up with him anymore, and each time he came to the conclusion that Reagan is a fraud, something happens that changes his mind, like how Reagan absorbed his powers during the end of Season 1 when facing the Claw. During the second season, Mob is under a lot of stress, calls Reagan out on his lies, and quits working with him. In turn, Reagan, after being lured into a trap, is defamed on live TV, revealed as a fraud that has no psychic powers. And it was only during his interview that he realized he was taking Mob for granted, to say the least. Mob forgave him, however, and resumed working for him. When it comes to friends as well, Mob changed and grew. At the start of the series, he had absolutely no one. I mean, even his relation with his brother was as bad as it gets. They barely talked or even looked in each other's directions. And don't get me started on Ritsu's brotherly complex he had with Mob being a gifted psychic while Ritsu was a normal human. For now. After joining the Telepathy and Body Improvement Club, however, things started to change for Mob, and he had true friends by his side that are ready to fight for him, protect him, and even get beaten for him. Through these friendships and experiences, Mob evolved and started to grow as a person and as a character after being a mediocre character at best. He started to speak up even though most of the time it's unexplainable words, but hey, it still counts in my book. He is at least trying to do something and learning to engage with people. In comes Season 3 with the final nail in the coffin, fleshing out Mob as a character of his own once and for all. The whole season was about Mob growing up, facing life, and becoming his own person. His first sign of growing up was the fact that he managed to find the solution of an issue he had without the help of Reagan for once in his life.
Oh, sorry, but I have something I need to do.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Didn't you want to talk to me earlier?
It's okay now. I figured it out. Excuse me.
Hold on. Mob solved a problem on his own?
Something that Reagan remarked surprisingly and even somewhat in a concerned manner, thinking that Mob no longer needs him. The second evolution towards his character was during the Sacred Tree arc. The Sacred Tree, aka the broccoli he inadvertently created in the previous season during his battle with the leader of Claw, has become a tourist spot, and even a religion began to form around the tree. The one behind the tree was called the Psycho Helmet God. At first, it was Dimple with his god complex, but later on the tree itself attained sentience and attacked Dimple after he reconciled with Mob. And I gotta say that 100% troll move was so not expected. The show had been hinting for a long time that Mob was about to explode and that he is so mad with how everyone is being brainwashed, especially his brother Ritsu. He even went against Reagan and decided to confront the source of the tree without the help of anyone. He went there with full conviction and belief that the tree is the source of all evil and that it was killing the city, with all its spread out roots piercing through the concrete and the fact that it was sucking the life force from everything around it. For the first time, we saw Mob fighting alone for his own beliefs and for the sake of his friend Dimple to show him the fault of his ways and that becoming a god was just an excuse for his loneliness and a way to hide what he truly wanted.
Your words, they're all phony. Don't try to convince me that's the real Dimple. Because it won't work. I won't accept it. That's not you.
What the hell did you just say to me?
Mob was at the brink of exploding, probably killing Dimple and destroying the city in the process if it wasn't for Dimple harassing his taste in clothes. That atrociously ugly shirt he was wearing, and Dimple was the only one to give an honest opinion about it, something that surprised Mob and decompressed him, like a balloon popping. The honest opinion Dimple gave him about the shirt proved to him his suspicions that Dimple did care about him and could never hurt his dear friend. He talks him out of it, and on their way back, Dimple is forced to brainwash Mob and sacrifice himself in his fight with a tree as an attempt to protect him from it. During that night, and even though Mob had no recollection of what exactly happened, deep down he knew that Dimple sacrificed himself to save him and that he was never coming back, which made him cry to sleep, showing genuine emotions. Sadness was somehow the dominant theme on this season. But that wasn't all, however. He wanted to reconcile with his old self through the finale of the series. He is stressed beyond imagination, with the fact that his beloved crush was moving away before he even had a chance to confess to her about his feelings towards her. The accident he had sent him into a spiral of emotions, with his other overpowered, uncontrollable self taking over the scene and destroying the city, harming its people and causing tremors just by walking. The first one to encounter the rampaging Mob was Teru Hanazawa. During their battle, he recalled the first time he met with Mob and the fact that he let himself be choked to unconsciousness just so he wouldn't use his powers against people. This allowed the true Mob to surface a bit from within the subconscious of the sidekick Mob, prompting an internal battle while other sidekicks and friends of Mob's attempt to stop him or at least hinder his movements and somehow knock him back to reality. Although these efforts aren't what we're here for, however, we are here because of that internal struggle he had with his other self that he suppressed for years. On their march towards the park where his crush is waiting, Mob had to face his previous trauma through a way or another, whether it was by facing off against his brother and finally reconciling with him after all these years, the ongoing rivalry between him and Hanazawa reminding him that he would never hurt people, or the face that Dimple returned took over Reigen's body and tried to stop him as much as he could. It was all due to the culmination of every single effort and encounter to stop him that he grew as a person. The nail in the coffin, though, and the sole reason he was shocked enough to be knocked back to reality, was Reigen's confession that he truly has no powers, and that he is a fraud after all. In just 2 or so episodes, Mob was able to deal with all the built-up trauma throughout his life, and through facing it all head-on, even though he took out half of the city along with him, he was finally able to put the past in the past, turn a new leaf in his life, and return back to the Mob he used to be before the accident with his brother. This is evident with him crying after he got rejected by his crush and how he was laughing uncontrollably during the surprise birthday for Reigen. One thing we know for sure, the upcoming seasons of the show are going to feature a side of Mob we never got to experience yet. This new Mob, or should I say the improved Mob, is due to the efforts of his own self-improving processes and him reconciling with his past trauma, finally giving it all up, and deciding it's time to turn a new leaf.
Now listen up! You all better be prepared to help!
I don't know about you guys, but for me, the finale was more than satisfying. It was a work of genius writing and character development with everyone that ever had an impact on the psyche and life of Mob, gathering in one place to celebrate the birthday of Reigen. And for once, we saw Mob truly show emotions, joke, laugh, cry, and have fun for a change, saying what is on his mind and standing up for his convictions and for what he believes in. As I said, going forward, I am most excited about the new seasons with the new and improved Mob in action. What about you guys? Do you feel the same? And as usual, if you like this video, leave a thumbs up and remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below whether you like the development Mob went through, or you just prefer to have your timid, keeping to himself silent Mob. And as for now, I'll catch you later. See you in the next